The river swallowed her whole legs, broken body, limp, thrown away like garbage by the very people who'd raised her. Ayanna's scream cut through the storm as the Verde River dragged her under, and she knew this was how the cursed died alone, forgotten, drowning in judgment. Then, strong hands grabbed her collar, yanking her from death's grip. A stranger's voice cut through the rain. "Not today, not on my watch." Before we begin, please subscribe to our channel and stay with us until the very end of this incredible journey. Comment below with your city, so we can see how far this story travels. Now let's begin. Cole Madrin heard the scream over the roar of the storm. He dropped his hammer mid-swing, water streaming down his face, and turned toward the Verde River. The sound came again, sharp, desperate, human. Cole was running before his brain caught up. The river was a churning brown monster swollen from 3 days of rain. He spotted her, a dark shape in the water, going under, struggling. No time to think. He hit the water at full speed. The cold punched his lungs empty. The current grabbed him, tried to spin him downstream. Cole fought it, stroking hard, eyes locked on that shape. She went under again. "Hold on." His hand closed on fabric. He yanked her toward him, wrapped his arm around her waist. She was small, light, barely breathing. The river wanted them both dead. Cole kicked for the bank muscles, screaming, shoulder tearing, where the old bullet wound lived. His boot hit mud, then solid ground. He dragged her up the bank and collapsed beside her, gasping. She was Apache, young, maybe 20. Long black hair plastered across her face, and her eyes were open, staring at him with pure terror. "You're alive." Cole rolled her onto her side as she convulsed, vomiting river water into the mud. "Easy. Get it out." When she finally stopped heaving, she collapsed back, shaking violently. That's when Cole saw her legs. They lay there, wrong, limp, lifeless. "Can you move your legs?" She tried. Nothing happened. Her face crumpled, and a sound came out of her that wasn't quite human. Cole stripped off his coat and wrapped it around her. "I'm taking you to my cabin." She said something in Apache, fear and resignation mixed together. "I'm not gonna hurt you." Cole scooped her up. "River's no place to die." He walked fast through the rain. His cabin sat a quarter-mile back, tucked against cottonwoods. One-room stone fireplace, not much else. Cole kicked the door open and laid her on his bed. Fire first, then blankets, everyone he owned, piled on top of her. Water heating over the flames. Only then did he look at her. She watched him with dark, calculating eyes. Scared, but smart. "Name's Cole. You're safe here." Her lips moved. "Ayanna. Ayanna. I'm gonna check your legs." She tensed, but nodded. He pulled back the blankets. Her buckskin dress was torn, soaked. No obvious breaks, no bone showing. But the way they lay there, lifeless. He touched her shin. "Feel that?" Nothing. Her knee. "This?" She shook her head, tears streaming. "What happened?" Long silence. Then, in broken English, "They throw me." The words hit like a fist. "Who?" "My people. Legs stop working after I fall from horse. Medicine man say I cursed. Say I bring death to tribe." She closed her eyes. "So they throw me to river." Cole walked to the fireplace and stared into the flames. When he turned back, his voice was flat. "Spirits decided. You lived. You decided. Same thing." "No. Not same." Cole grabbed a clean shirt and warm water. "I'm getting you out of those wet clothes before you freeze. Then we're figuring out the rest." "Why you help? I am nothing. Broken." Cole met her eyes. "Because no one else did." The night passed in focused silence. Cole helped her change into his spare shirt. It hung on her like a tent. He wrung out her hair, examined her legs more carefully. No fever yet, no infection. The muscles were there, just not responding. Something in her spine, maybe from the fall. He brought her venison soup in his only bowl. She stared at it, then at him. Eat. She took the bowl with shaking hands and drank. Her eyes closed. When they opened again, they were wet. Thank you. Cole turned away uncomfortable. He pulled up his chair beside the bed. Tell me about the fall. Ayanna's fingers twisted in the blanket. 3 moons ago. I ride fast in canyon. Horse step in hole. We fall. I wake up legs not move. Medicine man try everything. Songs, smoke, nothing work. Then people whisper. Say I anger spirits. Old woman die. Crops fail. Sickness come. Her voice cracked. My father. He love me. But council say I must go. Say if he not throw me, they throw him too. So he throw me. He cry, but he do it. Cole's hands curled into fists. Your mother. Dead. Many years. Siblings. 1 brother. He turn away. Cole stood and walked to the window. Rain streaked the glass. People are cruel when they're scared. They'll sacrifice their own children to feel safe. You know this? Yeah, I know it. Silence. What you do before ranch? Ayanna asked. Things I'm not proud of. You kill people. Yes. Why? Because they paid me to. Then because I was angry. Then because I didn't know how to stop. And now I fix fences. Try to forget. That work? Cole's laugh was bitter. No. We both exiles, Ayanna said quietly. Cole turned. She watched him with knowing eyes. Yeah, he said. I guess we are. Morning came fast. Ayanna woke to coffee and bacon. Cole stood at the stove, glanced over his shoulder. Food's ready. She pushed up on her elbows. Her arms were sore but strong. Her legs, nothing. She stared at them, willing them to move. Don't. Cole brought her the plate. Not yet. Give it time. How long? Don't know. Could be never. Could be. But human body's tougher than you think. Ayanna took the plate. Why you do this, I am burden. You're not a burden. You're a person who needs help. Cole sat across from her. There's a difference. She blinked, processing. No one had ever said that before. Eat. Then we'll figure out how to get you stronger. She ate slowly. The bacon was perfect. When she finished, she looked at him. Really looked. Tall. Weathered. Scarred hands and guarded eyes. But kindness buried underneath. You good man. Cole's jaw tightened. I'm just a man trying to do better. Same thing. He almost smiled. The days blurred together. Cole worked outside fences, cattle firewood. Ayanna stayed inside, teaching herself to move, first just sitting up, then dragging herself across the floor using only her arms. Cole found her halfway to the door one afternoon, sweat pouring, arms shaking. Where are you going? Outside. I want see sky. Ayanna. I not stay in bed like thing that wait to die. Her voice was fierce. I live. So I move. Cole studied her face, the fire there, and nodded. All right. But smart. He carried her outside and set her on the porch. She closed her eyes, tilted her face to the sun, breathed deep. I forget how good this feel. Cole leaned against the railing. You miss home. I miss what it was, not what it became. Fair. You miss yours. Never had one. Where you from? Kansas, Missouri, Texas. Moved around. Family. Dead. Father drank himself into the grave. Mother followed. Had a sister fever, took her at 10. You alone long time. Yeah. Me too now. Their eyes met. Not anymore, Cole said. You got me now. Ayanna's eyes filled. She looked away fast. Worth more than you know. 2 weeks passed. Snow started falling. Ayanna grew stronger. Her arms became muscle from dragging herself around. She learned to cook from the bed, to help with small tasks. They talked. She taught him Apache words. He taught her more English. She told stories of her tribe learning to ride to hunt her mother's songs. He told her about the war, drifting town to town, the faces that wouldn't leave him alone. "You carry ghosts," Ayanna said one night by the fire. "Too many." "Apache say ghosts follow until you make peace." "How?" "Live better than when you kill them." Cole stared at the flames. "I'm trying." "I know, I see it." Something shifted. They weren't just survivor and rescuer anymore. Something deeper. Then the trader came. Dutch McCary showed up on a cold morning tying his mules to the post. "Madrin, you still breathing?" Cole stepped out, rifle lowered. "Dutch." "Business. Trading." Dutch's eyes shifted to the window. Ayanna sat there wrapped in blankets. His face went neutral. "Got yourself company?" "Yep." "Apache girl?" "Yep." "That's interesting." Cole's voice flattened. "Say it Dutch." The old man dismounted. "I don't judge, but folks in Pine Ford are talking. Deputies rode out here weeks back, found nothing left mad. Now there's talk. People saying you're hiding her, that you're—" He paused. "Keeping her. I saved her life. She's got nowhere else." "I believe you, but times are tense. Apache raid near Prescott last month. 3 settlers dead. People are scared." Dutch lowered his voice. "Scared people do stupid things." "What kind?" "The kind with ropes and torches." Cole's hands tightened on the rifle. "Anyone comes here gets what they're looking for. That's what worries me. I like you, Madrin. But this ain't gonna stay quiet. Find her a safe place. Mission maybe, or she stays." "Madrin." "She stays. This is her home. Anyone has a problem can take it up with me." Dutch sighed. "Your funeral. Just watch your back." He rode off. Cole turned. Ayanna stood at the door holding the frame. "I bring trouble. I should go." "Go where?" "I don't know. But you saved my life. I not let them take yours." Cole walked up the steps. "I didn't pull you from that river to let you walk back into danger. You're staying." "How?" "Same way we figured everything else." He met her eyes. "Together." Ayanna leaned forward, rested her forehead against his chest. Cole froze, then slowly wrapped his arms around her. "Thank you for everything." Cole closed his eyes. "You gave me something to live for again. That's worth more than you know." They stood in the doorway as the first snow began to fall. Somewhere below, men were gathering. Trouble was coming. But for now, they had each other. And that was enough. The snow fell heavier that night. Cole stood at the window long after Ayanna had fallen asleep, watching the white blanket cover the world outside. His rifle leaned against the wall within arm's reach. Dutch's warning echoed in his head. Ropes and torches. He'd seen what fear did to men, seen whole towns turn into mobs over less. He glanced back at Ayanna curled under the blankets on his bed. Her breathing was steady, peaceful. For the first time since he'd pulled her from that river, her face looked soft, not haunted, not afraid, just resting. Cole turned back to the window. His reflection stared back at him, a man who'd spent 10 years running from ghosts, trying to disappear into the wilderness, where nobody asked questions and nobody cared about the blood on his hands. Now he had someone to protect, someone who needed him. And God help anyone who tried to take her away. He picked up the rifle and checked the load. 6 shots. He had more ammunition in the trunk, enough to make any fight expensive for whoever started it. "You not sleep?" Cole turned. Ayanna had pushed herself up on one elbow watching him. "Just thinking." "About men who come?" "Yeah." She was quiet for a moment. In my tribe, when danger come, we prepare. We not run, we stand. You can't stand. The words came out harsher than Cole intended. He softened his voice. I know what you mean. Ayanna pulled herself to sitting, her useless legs sliding off the edge of the bed. But I not talk about legs. I talk about heart. My legs broken. My heart not broken. You understand? Cole set the rifle down and walked over to her. He knelt so they were eye level. I understand. But Ayanna, if those men come, if they really come, you need to let me handle it. Can you do that? Her jaw set stubbornly. You think I weak. I think you're the strongest person I've ever met. I also think a fight's coming that you can't help with. Not the way you want to. He put his hand over hers. Let me do this. Let me keep you safe. Ayanna looked down at their hands. When she spoke again, her voice was barely a whisper. All my life people tell me what I can do, what I cannot do. Now my own body tell me same thing. I am tired of being told I am not enough. Cole's throat tightened. You're enough. You're more than enough. But being enough doesn't mean doing everything alone. She met his eyes. Something passed between them, understanding maybe, or trust. Okay, she said finally. I let you protect. But you promise me something. What? You promise you not die for me. You live for me. There is difference. Cole smiled despite himself. Deal. He helped her lie back down and pulled the blankets up around her shoulders. Her hand caught his wrist before he could pull away. Cole? Yeah. I am glad River bring me to you. His chest went tight. Me too. He sat in the chair by the fire until dawn, rifle across his lap, watching over her while she slept. The snow kept falling. Morning came gray and cold. Cole was up before the sun, building up the fire, putting coffee on to boil. The cabin was freezing. His breath came out in clouds. He added more wood to the stove and glanced at Ayanna. She was still asleep, buried under every blanket he owned. He pulled on his coat and stepped outside. The world had transformed overnight. Everything was white and silent, beautiful in a harsh way, the kind of beauty that could kill you if you weren't careful. Cole walked to the woodpile and started splitting logs. The physical work helped clear his head. Each swing of the axe was a decision: stay and fight, or pack up and run, take Ayanna somewhere safer, or stand his ground on the only piece of land he'd ever called his own. The axe came down hard, splitting the log clean through. He wasn't running. Not this time. You work hard. Cole turned. Ayanna had dragged herself to the doorway and sat there wrapped in a blanket watching him. It's cold. Need more wood. You worry. It wasn't a question. Cole set down the axe and walked over to her. Yeah, I worry. Men like those deputies, they don't give up easy. And if they come back, they won't come alone. Then we prepare. Ayanna's voice was calm, matter-of-fact. You teach me shoot. Cole blinked. What? Gun, rifle. You teach me. I cannot walk, but I can sit. I can hold gun. I can shoot. Ayanna. You say I let you protect. I say yes. But I not say I do nothing. If men come, I help. You teach me, or I teach myself. Which better? Cole stared at her, then slowly started to smile. You're something else, you know that. That is yes. That's a yes. Her face lit up, the first real smile he'd seen from her since the river. They started that afternoon. Cole brought out his old pistol, a Colt Peacemaker he'd carried during the war. He showed Ayanna how to hold it, how to aim, how to squeeze the trigger instead of pulling it. Gun kicks hard, he warned. First time might hurt. Everything hurt already. Ayanna settled the weight of the pistol in both hands. One more hurt, not matter. Cole set up a target against a tree, a piece of wood with a circle scratched into it. He helped Ayanna brace herself in the doorway, showed her how to line up the sights. Breathe out slow. Squeeze gentle. Let the shot surprise you. Ayanna nodded focused. The pistol barked. The recoil knocked her hands up, but she held on. The bullet hit the tree 6 inches wide of the target. Again, she said immediately. They practiced until the sun started going down. By the end, Ayanna was hitting the target more often than not. Her arms were shaking from the weight of the gun, her hands sore from the grip, but her eyes were bright with fierce satisfaction. Good, she asked. Real good. Cole took the pistol and reloaded it. You're a natural. I am warrior. She said it simply like stating a fact. My father teach me bow when I am small. He say women must know how to fight, how to survive. He say world not kind to weak. So I learn. I become strong. Her face fell. Then I fall from horse. Then I not strong anymore. Then I am weak thing they throw away. Cole crouched down in front of her. Listen to me. Strength isn't just about what your body can do. It's about what your heart won't quit doing. And your heart. He tapped her chest gently. That's the strongest damn thing I've ever seen. Ayanna's eyes filled. She looked away quickly, blinking hard. You make me feel like person again, like I matter. You do matter. To whom my people throw me away. My father choose tribe over daughter. My brother turn his back. Who I matter to. Cole took her hand in his. You matter to me. The words hung in the cold air between them. Ayanna stared at him, and something shifted in her expression. Something vulnerable and hopeful and scared all at once. Why? She whispered. Why I matter to you. Cole thought about it. Really thought about it. When he spoke, his voice was rough with emotion he'd kept buried for years. Because for 10 years, I've been half dead. Walking around breathing, but not really living. Just going through the motions, waiting for the past to finally catch up and finish me off. Then I pulled you out of that river, and something woke up inside me. Something I thought was gone for good. He squeezed her hand. You gave me a reason to care again. A reason to fight. That's why you matter. A tear slid down Ayanna's cheek. Then another. She didn't wipe them away. I think maybe river bring us together for reason. Not accident. Not luck. Something bigger. Maybe? Cole said. Or maybe we just got lucky. I not feel lucky when I drowning. Fair point. She smiled through her tears. Cole helped her back inside before the cold could seep into her bones. He made dinner beans and salt pork and the last of the bread. They ate by the fire, not talking much, just being together in comfortable silence. After dinner, Ayanna surprised him by asking, You have wife before? Cole almost choked on his coffee. What? Wife? You ever marry? No, never. Why not you, good man, strong, kind, women not want you? Cole set down his cup and stared into the fire. Never stayed in one place long enough. And the things I did, the man I was, I didn't think I deserved that kind of happiness. Still not sure I do. That's stupid. He looked at her surprised. Everyone deserve happiness, Ayanna said firmly. Even people who do bad things. Maybe especially them. How they become better if no one give chance. Is that Apache wisdom? No, that is Ayanna wisdom. She tilted her head. You give me chance when no one else did. Now I give you chance. Chance to be man you want to be, not man you were. Cole's throat went tight. He wanted to say something, thank you, or I don't deserve you, or maybe just her name, but the words wouldn't come. Ayanna saved him by yawning. I am tired. Shooting make arms hurt. I bet. Cole helped her into bed, tucked the blankets around her. Get some rest. Tomorrow we'll practice more. Cole? Yeah. Thank you. For teaching me. For making me feel strong again. He brushed a strand of hair from her face without thinking. You were always strong. You just needed someone to remind you. She caught his hand and held it against her cheek for a moment. Then she let go and closed her eyes. Cole sat by the fire long into the night, thinking about everything and nothing, until sleep finally claimed him in the chair. The next 3 days passed in a rhythm that felt almost normal. Cole worked outside, fixing the fence line, checking on his small herd of cattle scattered in the hills hunting when the weather cleared. Ayanna worked inside, dragging herself around the cabin, building strength in her arms and shoulders, practicing with the pistol when Cole came home. She also started cooking. Real cooking, not just soup. She'd pull herself to the stove using a chair Cole had modified for her, and she'd work from there, frying eggs, making biscuits, even roasting meat. The cabin began to smell like a home instead of just a place where a man slept. "Where you learn cook like this?" Cole asked one night, sopping up gravy with a biscuit. "My mother. She best cook in tribe. She teach me everything, how to season meat, how to make bread on hot stone, how to use every part of animal." Ayanna smiled at the memory. She say good food make people happy. Make them forget troubles for little while. She was right. Cole took another bite. "This is the best meal I've had in years." "You just say that." "I mean it." Ayanna's smile widened. She looked younger when she smiled, less haunted. More like the girl she must have been before the fall, before the exile, before the river. They talked more now. Not just surface things, but deeper. Ayanna told him about her childhood racing horses, with her brother learning to track deer, the songs her mother would sing while weaving baskets. Cole told her about his sister, the only good memory he had from before the war. About how she'd made him promise to come home safe, and how he'd broken that promise by becoming someone she wouldn't have recognized. "You think she forgive you?" Ayanna asked. "If she's still alive." Cole thought about it. "Yeah, I think she would. She had a big heart, bigger than mine. Your heart not small, just wounded, but wounds heal. You teach me that." He looked at her across the table. In the firelight, with her hair loose around her shoulders, and those dark eyes watching him with such understanding, she was beautiful. Not just physically, though she was that too, but beautiful in the way that strength and kindness and survival could make a person beautiful. And somewhere along the way, without meaning to, Cole had fallen for her. The realization hit him like a freight train. "You okay?" Ayanna tilted her head. "You look strange." "Yeah, I'm fine, just tired." But he wasn't fine. He was terrified. Because caring about someone meant having something to lose. And Cole had lost enough for one lifetime. The fourth day brought trouble. Cole was out checking his traps when he heard horses. 3 riders coming up the trail from town, moving slow and deliberate. He recognized the lead horse, a big roan that belonged to Deputy Briggs. Cole's hand went to his rifle. He moved back toward the cabin, staying in the trees, watching. The riders stopped about 50 yards from the cabin. Briggs dismounted along with 2 others Cole didn't recognize. They were armed, rifles across their saddles, pistols on their hips. Official looking in that way that meant trouble. Cole circled around and slipped in through the back window. Ayanna was at the table, the pistol already in her hands. 3 men, she whispered. "I hear horses." "Good ears." Cole took position by the front window, rifle ready. "Stay quiet. Let me handle this." Briggs called out. "Madrin, we know you're in there. Come on out. We just want to talk." Cole opened the door part way, but stayed inside, rifle visible. "Talk from there. I can hear you fine." Briggs smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Now that's no way to greet the law. Last time you came here you threatened me, so forgive me if I don't roll out the welcome mat." "That was a misunderstanding. We're here on official business now." Briggs gestured to the cabin. "We got reports you're harboring an Apache, a wanted Apache." "Wanted for what?" "Theft. Maybe murder. Reports are unclear." Cole's voice stayed flat. "You're a liar." Briggs's smile disappeared. "Careful, Madrin." She's not wanted for anything except being thrown away by her own people, and she's under my protection now. So unless you've got an actual warrant signed by an actual judge, you can turn around and ride back to whatever hole you crawled out of." One of the other men spoke up. "We don't need a warrant. We're investigating a crime." "What crime?" "Suspicion of theft from settlers. Suspicion of conspiracy with hostile Apaches." Cole laughed a harsh, bitter sound. "She can't walk. How's she supposed to conspire with anyone? How's she supposed to steal anything? That's what we're here to determine." Briggs took a step forward. "Now you can hand her over peaceful, or we can come in and get her. Your choice." Cole raised the rifle slightly. "Here's my choice. You take one more step, and I put a bullet in your leg. Not to kill you, just to make damn sure you remember this conversation." The two men with Briggs reached for their weapons. Cole swung the rifle to point at the nearest one. "Don't." Everyone froze. Briggs raised his hand, signaling his men to hold. His eyes were cold now, calculating. "You're making a mistake, Madrin. A big one. Won't be the first time. You fire on us, you're finished. We'll come back with 20 men. We'll burn this place to the ground. Then you better bring 30, and some coffins. Because I promise you, Briggs, I've killed better men than you for worse reasons. Don't test me." The standoff held for what felt like an hour, but was probably only seconds. Finally, Briggs smiled again, that dead empty smile. "We'll be back." "I'll be here." Briggs mounted his horse. The three of them turned and rode off slow, making a point not to hurry. When they were finally out of sight, Cole closed the door and leaned against it, heart pounding. Ayanna had tears streaming down her face. "They kill you for this. They kill you because of me." Cole set down the rifle and went to her. He knelt and took her hands. "Listen to me. They're not killing anyone. We're going to be fine." How you hear him. "They come back with more men. They burn cabin. They—" "Ayanna, look at me." She met his eyes, terrified. "I've been in worse situations than this. A lot worse. And I'm still here. You know why?" She shook her head. "Because I'm meaner than they are. Because I've got more to lose now than I've had in years. And because—" He stopped, the words catching in his throat. "Because why?" she whispered. "Because I'm not letting them take you. Not now. Not ever." Ayanna threw her arms around his neck and buried her face against his shoulder. Cole held her, feeling her shake, feeling his own fear mixing with something fiercer, something protective and possessive and desperate. "What we do?" she asked against his neck. "We prepare. We get ready. And if they come back—" Cole's voice hardened. "We make them regret it." That night, Cole didn't sleep. He reinforced the door with extra boards, checked every window, counted his ammunition, 32 rifle rounds, 18 for the pistol. Not enough for a real siege, but enough to make a point. Ayanna watched him work, silent. When he finally sat down exhausted, she spoke. "You should take me somewhere. Leave me in town. Or mission. Then you be safe." "No." "Cole." "I said no." He looked at her. "You think I saved you just to abandon you the first time things got hard? You think that little of me. I think everything of you. That is problem. I think too much. I care too much. And now you in danger because you care about broken Apache girl nobody wants." Cole crossed the room and knelt in front of her. He took her face in his hands, forcing her to look at him. "You listen to me, and you listen good. You're not broken. You're not unwanted. And you're not a problem. You're—" He stopped, searching for words. "You're the best thing that's happened to me in 10 years, maybe my whole life. So don't you dare tell me I should give you up. Don't you dare." Ayanna's lip trembled. "You mean that—" "Every word." She leaned forward and pressed her forehead against his. They stayed like that, breathing together, drawing strength from each other. "I scared," she whispered. "Me too." "What if they kill you?" "They won't." "You cannot know that." "No. But I know this. I'd rather die fighting for something that matters than live another 10 years with nothing worth fighting for." He pulled back to look at her. You matter, Ayanna. To me, you matter more than anything. A tear rolled down her cheek. You matter to me too. So much it hurt. Cole wiped the tear away with his thumb. And then, without planning it, without thinking about all the reasons it was complicated and dangerous, and maybe impossible, he kissed her. It was gentle at first, tentative, like they were both afraid the other might pull away. But Ayanna made a small sound in the back of her throat and kissed him back, and suddenly gentle wasn't enough. Cole's hand went to the back of her head, fingers tangling in her hair. Ayanna's hands gripped his shirt, pulling him closer. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Ayanna touched her fingers to her lips. No one ever. Me neither. Not like that. What this mean? Cole smiled a real smile, maybe the first real smile he'd managed in years. It means we're in this together. All the way. No matter what comes. Ayanna smiled back, and for the first time since the river, Cole saw hope in her eyes. Real hope. Not the kind that came from luck or chance, but the kind that came from having something worth hoping for. They sat together by the fire until dawn, not talking much, just being close. Ayanna's head on his shoulder, Cole's arm around her waist, both of them knowing that trouble was coming, but not caring, because for this moment, this one perfect moment, they had each other. And that was enough. The sun was barely up when Cole heard them coming. He'd been awake for hours, sitting by the window with his rifle across his knees, watching the trail. The kiss from last night still burned on his lips, but there was no time to think about what it meant. No time to figure out what happened next between him and Ayanna. Because the dust cloud rising from the valley told him everything he needed to know. They were coming back, and they'd brought friends. Ayanna. Cole's voice was quiet, but urgent. Get the pistol. Stay low. She was already moving, dragging herself to the corner where they'd stashed extra ammunition. Her face was pale, but determined. She checked the pistol's load with steady hands. How many? Cole counted the riders as they came into view. 5, maybe 6. You say they bring 20. Guess Briggs couldn't find that many men stupid enough to die today. Ayanna's laugh was shaky. You make joke now. Better than crying. The riders stopped at the same spot as before. Briggs dismounted, and this time he wasn't alone. A tall man in a long coat stepped down from a gray horse someone Cole didn't recognize. The others fanned out, rifles ready but not raised. Yet. Cole opened the door, partway, rifle visible. Briggs, thought we settled this yesterday. We didn't settle anything, Madrin. Briggs gestured to the tall man. This here's Marshal Teague from Prescott. Federal Marshal. Now you gonna listen. Teague stepped forward. He had the look of a man who'd seen violence and wasn't impressed by it anymore. His eyes were cold, calculating. Mr. Madrin, I'm here on official business. We have reason to believe you're harboring a fugitive Apache woman. Reason to believe or making things up to justify harassment. Watch your mouth. Teague's voice didn't rise, but it got harder. I've got 3 witnesses who saw an Apache woman matching her description stealing supplies from a homestead 2 months back. 2 months back, she could barely breathe, much less steal anything. She was drowning in that river because her own people threw her away. Cole's grip tightened on the rifle. You want to arrest someone, arrest them for attempted murder. Apache justice isn't federal jurisdiction. But harassing innocent people on their own land is... Teague's jaw clenched. I'm trying to do this peaceful, Madrin. Don't make me do it the other way. Here's the thing, Marshal. I don't care what title you've got, or what lies Briggs told you. That woman in there can't walk. She can't steal. She can't do anything except try to survive. And if you think I'm handing her over to men who'll lynch her before sundown, you don't know me at all. One of the other men called out. Maybe we should just take a look, Marshal, see if she's even in there. Cole swung the rifle to point at the speaker, You try, and you'll be the first one bleeding in the dirt." "That's threatening a federal officer," Teague said. "That's a hanging offense." "Then you better bring a rope." Cole's voice was steel. "Because I'm not moving, and neither is she." Briggs stepped forward, his hand on his pistol. "Marshal, we don't need his permission. We got probable cause. Let's just go in and—" The shot cracked through the morning air. Everyone froze. The bullet had hit the ground 2 feet in front of Briggs's boots, kicking up dirt and snow. Cole hadn't fired. His rifle was still pointed at the other man. The second shot came from inside the cabin, through the window, from Ayanna. Her voice rang out clear and strong despite the fear Cole knew she was feeling. "Next one not miss. You leave now or I shoot for real." Briggs stumbled backward, his face red with rage and fear. "You let her threaten federal officers. You're done, Madrin. You're both done." Teague raised his hand, stopping Briggs from drawing his weapon. The marshal's eyes were locked on the cabin window, where Ayanna sat pistol braced on the sill. "Can she actually shoot?" Teague asked Cole quietly. "Better than most men I know, and she's got nothing to lose." That was a lie. Ayanna had everything to lose now, but Teague didn't need to know that. The marshal studied Cole for a long moment. Then he turned to his men. "Mount up." "What?" Briggs looked like he'd been slapped. "Marshal, we can't just—" "I said mount up, deputy." Teague's voice cut through the objection like a knife. "This isn't worth dying over. Not today." "But the law—" "The law says I need evidence. Real evidence. Not rumors and lies from a deputy with a grudge." Teague mounted his gray horse and looked down at Cole. "You've got 24 hours, Madrin. 24 hours to figure out what you're doing with that girl. After that, I'm coming back with a warrant. A real one. And next time, I won't ask permission." Cole nodded once. "Fair enough." Teague turned his horse and rode off. The others followed Briggs, casting one last poisonous look over his shoulder before spurring his mount down the trail. Cole waited until they were out of sight. Then he waited another 10 minutes. Then he finally lowered the rifle and stepped back inside. Ayanna was shaking so hard the pistol rattled against the windowsill. Cole took it gently from her hands and set it aside, then pulled her into his arms. "You did good. Real good." "I so scared." Her voice was muffled against his chest. "I never shoot at person before. Not even to miss." "I know. But you did it anyway. That's courage." "That is stupid. Now they come back with more men. With warrant. What we do?" Cole held her tighter. That was the question, wasn't it? 24 hours. One day to figure out how to save both their lives. He pulled back to look at her. "We run." Ayanna blinked. "What?" "We pack up, take what we can carry, head north into the mountains. There are places up there where nobody goes. Places we could hide until this blows over. You leave your home, your ranch, everything you build. It's just land, just a cabin. You're more important." Tears filled her eyes. "I not worth that. I not worth you losing everything." Cole cupped her face in his hands. "Let me decide what you're worth to me. And right now you're worth everything." She kissed him, then desperate and fierce and grateful all at once. When they broke apart, she was crying. "Okay. We run. We go to mountains. But Cole." "What?" "If they find us, if they catch us, you let me go. You tell them I force you. You tell them I threaten you. You save yourself." "Like hell." "Cole." I said no. We're in this together. Remember, all the way. No matter what. He stood and started pulling supplies from the shelves. "Now help me pack. We've got a long ride ahead." They worked fast. Cole loaded his saddlebags with ammunition, food blankets, medicine. Ayanna rolled bandages and packed cooking supplies, her hands moving with quick efficiency despite her fear. Within an hour, they had everything ready. The hard part was getting Ayanna onto the horse. Cole saddled his mare, a sturdy buckskin named Belle, and brought her around to the porch. Ayanna stared up at the saddle like it was a mountain. "I not ride since fall, since legs stop working." I know, but we don't have a choice. Cole positioned himself beside the horse. I'm going to lift you up. You hold on to the saddle horn. I'll be right behind you holding you steady. Belle's gentle. She won't spook. Ayanna nodded, but Cole could see the terror in her eyes. Not just fear of falling, fear of being helpless again, of having to depend on someone else for something as basic as staying on a horse. Hey! Cole tilted her chin up. I've got you. I won't let you fall. You trust me? Yes. Then let's go. He lifted her as gently as he could. She was light but dead weight without her legs working. He settled her in the saddle and climbed up behind her, wrapping one arm around her waist. His other hand took the reins. Comfortable? No, but alive. That is what matters. Cole almost smiled. He kicked Belle into a walk, heading away from the cabin and up into the foothills. Behind them, smoke started rising from the chimney he'd left the fire burning, so it would look like they were still there. Buy them a few extra hours, maybe. They rode in silence for the first hour. Ayanna sat stiff in front of him, clearly uncomfortable and probably in pain. But she didn't complain, didn't ask to stop, just endured. Finally, Cole spoke. You doing okay? My back hurt. My legs feel strange, but I am okay. Strange how? Like tingling, like when foot fall asleep, but different. Cole's heart jumped. That's good. That might mean the nerves are waking up. Or it mean nothing, maybe just phantom feeling. Maybe, but maybe not. They climbed higher. The air got colder, thinner. Snow lay thick on the ground, now muffling the horses' hoofbeats. Cole kept them to the trees, avoiding open ground where they'd be visible from below. Around noon, they stopped by a frozen creek to rest. Cole helped Ayanna down and leaned her against a tree, then went to water the horse and refill their canteens. When he came back, Ayanna was crying silently, tears streaming down her face. What's wrong? Are you hurt? She shook her head. I hate this. I hate being carried like child. I hate not being able to walk, to run, to do anything myself. I hate... Her voice broke. I hate being burdened to you. Cole sat beside her and pulled her close. You're not a burden. I am. You leave your home because of me. You run because of me. You risk everything because of me. No, I risk everything because of me. Because I choose to. Because you're worth it. He turned her face toward him. Listen, you think I had anything worth protecting before you? That cabin, that ranch, I was just existing, Ayanna. Just waiting to die. You gave me something to live for, something to fight for. That's not a burden. That's a gift. You just say that to make me feel better. I say it because it's true. Cole wiped her tears with his thumb. When I pulled you out of that river, I didn't know I was saving myself too. But I was. You saved me just as much as I saved you. Ayanna leaned her head against his shoulder. What if they find us? What if we run forever and never safe? Then we run forever. I don't care, as long as we're together. She was quiet for a moment. Then, you love me. The question hung in the cold air. Cole felt his heart hammering. He'd killed men without hesitation, faced down death more times than he could count. But those 3 words terrified him more than any bullet ever had. Because once he said them, there was no taking them back. No pretending this was just about protection or duty, or doing the right thing. Yeah, he said finally, his voice rough. I love you. Ayanna pulled back to look at him. Her eyes were wide, searching his face. You sure? I'm sure. How you know? Cole thought about it. Because when I think about losing you, I can't breathe. Because when you smile, it's the best part of my day. Because I'd burn down the whole world to keep you safe. He touched her cheek. That's how I know. Fresh tears spilled down Ayanna's face, but she was smiling now. I love you too. I think I love you since you pull me from river. Since you say river no place to die. I think I love you then, but I too scared to know it. Cole kissed her slow and deep. When they broke apart, he rested his forehead against hers. We're going to be okay. I promise you. You cannot promise that. Watch me. They stayed like that for a few more minutes, drawing warmth and strength from each other. Then Cole helped her back onto the horse, and they kept climbing. By late afternoon, they reached a small cave Cole remembered from his wandering days. It was hidden behind a rockfall barely visible, unless you knew where to look. Big enough for a fire, defensible with a clear view of the approach from below. This is it, Cole said, helping Ayanna down. We'll stay here tonight. Rest up. Figure out our next move. He got her settled inside, then built a fire near the cave entrance where the smoke would dissipate against the rocks. The temperature was dropping fast. They'd need the warmth. Cole unpacked their supplies and made a simple meal, jerky and hardtack, nothing fancy. They ate in silence, both exhausted. When they finished, Ayanna spoke. You think they follow us? Maybe. Probably. But we've got a good lead and it'll be dark soon. They won't track us in the dark. And tomorrow? Tomorrow we keep moving. Head deeper into the mountains. There's an old mining camp about 2 days north. Abandoned. We can hole up there for a while. Ayanna nodded, but Cole could see the doubt in her eyes. The fear. What if running not enough? What if they never stop looking? Cole fed another stick into the fire. Then we keep running. Or we make a stand. Or... He stopped. Or what? Or we find a way to clear your name. Prove you didn't steal anything. Prove you're innocent. How? No one believe Apache girl over white witnesses. No one believed I'd pull you from that river either. But I did. Cole looked at her across the flames. There's always a way, Ayanna. We just have to find it. She wanted to believe him. He could see it in her face. But belief was hard when the world had spent so long teaching her that hope was for other people. Cole lay out their blankets near the fire and helped Ayanna get comfortable. He intended to stay awake, keep watch. But exhaustion pulled at him like a physical weight. Sleep, Ayanna said softly. I watch for a while. You need rest too. I'm fine. You are liar. You not sleep last night. You not sleep night before. Your eyes have dark circles. Your hands shake from tired. She touched his face. Sleep. I wake you if I hear something. Cole wanted to argue, but she was right. He was running on fumes. 2 hours, he said. Then you wake me. Okay. He lay down beside her and she pulled his head onto her lap. Her fingers ran through his hair, gentle and soothing. Despite his intentions to stay alert, Cole felt himself drifting. Cole? Ayanna's voice was soft. Yeah. Thank you. For everything. For choosing me. Always. Cole mumbled, already half asleep. I'll always choose you. He felt her lean down and kiss his forehead. Then darkness took him. Cole woke to the sound of horses. He was on his feet in seconds, rifle in hand, heart pounding. The fire had burned down to embers. Outside the cave, the world was dark except for stars. And somewhere down the slope, he could hear voices. Ayanna. He kept his voice to a whisper. How long? Maybe hour. I try to wake you, but you sleep so deep. Then I hear them coming. Her face was pale with fear. I'm sorry. I should wake you sooner. It's okay. How many? 3, maybe 4. They stop down by trees. They make camp. Cole moved to the cave entrance and peered out. Sure enough, he could see the orange glow of a campfire about a quarter-mile below. They'd tracked them this far, then stopped for the night. Smart. They knew Cole and Ayanna couldn't go anywhere in the dark. Better to wait until morning come at them fresh. They trap us, Ayanna whispered. We cannot go down. Cannot go up. We are stuck. Cole thought fast. She was right, the cave was defensible, but it was also a trap. Come morning, those men could just wait them out. No water up here except melted snow. Limited food. They'd starve or freeze long before their pursuers gave up. Unless... Can you shoot while I carry you? Cole asked suddenly. Ayanna blinked. What? If I carry you on my back, can you hold the pistol shoot if you need to? I think so. Why? Cole smiled grimly. Because we're not waiting for morning. We're going down now. That is crazy. That's why it'll work. They're expecting us to run or hide, not attack. He started gathering their supplies, moving fast and quiet. They've got the low ground and a fire. They're comfortable, probably not even posting a real watch. We come in from above, quiet as ghosts, and we're past them before they know we're gone. And if they hear us, then you shoot anything that moves, and I run like hell. Ayanna stared at him for a long moment. Then incredibly she smiled. You are crazy man, but you are my crazy man. Okay, we do it. Cole kissed her hard and fast. That's my girl. He packed up their gear and strapped it tight to minimize noise. Then he helped Ayanna onto his back, her arms around his neck, the pistol in her right hand. She was light, but carrying her and the supplies together was going to be hell on his back and legs. Hold on tight. Don't let go no matter what. I not let go, I promise. Cole took a deep breath, checked the rifle one last time, and stepped out of the cave into the freezing night. The slope was treacherous, loose rocks, hidden under snow deadfall waiting to trip him. But Cole had spent years moving through hostile territory in the dark. His feet found purchase where others would have fallen. He moved slowly, carefully testing each step. Behind him, Ayanna breathed against his neck, her body tense as wire. The pistol pressed cold against his shoulder. They were 50 yards from the enemy camp when Cole heard voices. Told you we should have pushed on. They're probably halfway to the border by now. Teague said to camp here, so we camp here. Teague can kiss my... A laugh cut short by a third voice. Shut up, both of you. You want them to hear us? Cole froze. He was close enough now to see shapes around the fire. 3 men, not 4. One standing watch but facing the wrong direction, looking up the mountain instead of down. Amateur mistake. Cole adjusted Ayanna's weight and kept moving. 40 yards. 30. The standing guard shifted, yawned, sat down. Better and better. 20 yards. Cole could see their horses now tied to a picket line. Belle whinnied softly from higher up the slope, probably smelling the other horses. The men didn't react. 10 yards. Cole angled away from the camp, giving them a wide berth. Almost there. Almost clear. Then a branch snapped under his boot like a gunshot. The guard's head whipped around. Who's there? Cole ran. He heard shouts behind him, the sound of men scrambling for weapons. A rifle shot cracked through the night, but it went wide. They were shooting blind in the dark. Hold on! Cole gasped to Ayanna. I am holding. Another shot. This one closer. Cole zigzagged between trees, his lungs burning, legs screaming. Ayanna bounced on his back but didn't complain, didn't cry out. There, I see them. More shots. One clipped a tree next to Cole's head, spraying bark. He dove behind a boulder, breathing hard, and set Ayanna down. You okay? Yes. They follow. Cole listened. Footsteps. Getting closer. 3 men spread out, moving through the trees. Yeah. They follow. He checked his rifle. 5 rounds left. Against 3 armed men in the dark. Not great odds, but he'd worked with worse. When I start shooting you, stay down. Understand? Ayanna grabbed his arm. No. We stay together. You shoot, I shoot. 2 guns better than 1. Cole wanted to argue, but she was right. Okay. But you stay behind cover. Don't take risks. Same to you. He almost smiled despite everything. The first man came into view, a shadow against shadows, rifle raised. Cole fired. The man went down with a cry. The other two scattered, taking cover. He's behind the rock circle around. Cole moved, pulling Ayanna with him. They scrambled to a new position, using the darkness and terrain. One of the men got too close. Ayanna fired her shot, going wide but close enough to make him dive for cover. "Good girl," Cole muttered. "Keep them honest." They played a deadly game of cat and mouse for the next 10 minutes. Cole would fire, forcing the men to take cover. Then he'd move before they could pinpoint his position. Ayanna covered their flanks, her shots keeping the men from flanking them. But Cole was running out of ammunition. 3 rounds left. Maybe 4. And then he heard it. More horses, coming fast from down the trail. Reinforcements. Cole, I hear them. This was it. The moment where everything went sideways. Where all the running and fighting came to an end. Cole pulled Ayanna close. "I love you. Whatever happens, I need you to know. I know. I love you too." The horses thundered closer. 5 riders. Maybe 6. Too many. Way too many. Cole raised his rifle, preparing for the last stand. Beside him, Ayanna raised the pistol. The riders burst into the clearing. Cole's finger tightened on the trigger. "Hold fire! Hold your goddamn fire!" Cole froze. That voice. He knew that voice. Dutch McCary rode into view, hands raised, his old face pale in the starlight. And behind him, Sheriff Garrett from Prescott, and 3 of his deputies. "Madrin, don't shoot," Dutch called. "We're here to help." One of the men who'd been chasing them stepped out from behind a tree. "Sheriff, what the hell are you doing here?" Garrett dismounted, and even in the dark, Cole could see his face was carved from stone. "I could ask you the same thing, Porter. This is outside your jurisdiction. Way outside." "We were following orders. Marshal Teague. Marshal Teague is under arrest." Garrett cut him off. "Turns out he's been running a little side business framing Apaches for crimes they didn't commit, then collecting bounties when they get hanged. Federal investigators have been building a case for months." The world seemed to tilt under Cole's feet. "What?" he managed. Garrett walked over, his boots crunching in the snow. "Your girl didn't steal anything, Madrin. Neither did half the Apaches that bastards put ropes around. He was using Briggs and men like Porter here to manufacture evidence, intimidate witnesses." He looked at the men in the trees. "You boys have about 10 seconds to drop those weapons before I add conspiracy to murder to your charges." The rifles hit the ground. Garrett turned back to Cole. "Dutch here rode all night to Prescott to tell me what was happening. Said you were in trouble. Said an innocent woman was about to get lynched because Briggs had a grudge and Teague had a profit motive." He glanced at Ayanna, still sitting behind the rock with the pistol. "That her?" "Yeah." Cole's voice was hoarse. "That's her. She really can't walk. Not yet. But she can shoot, from what Dutch tells me. Better than most men." Garrett almost smiled. "Good for her. World needs more women who don't take shit." He gestured to his deputies. "Secure those men. We're taking them back to face charges." As the deputies moved in, Garrett walked closer to Cole and lowered his voice. "You did good, Madrin. Standing up for her, not backing down. That took guts." "I didn't have a choice." "We always have a choice. You made the right one." Garrett tipped his hat. "Welcome back to civilization, for what it's worth." He walked away, leaving Cole standing there with Ayanna in his arms, trying to process what had just happened. They weren't running anymore. They were safe. Ayanna looked up at him, her eyes huge in the starlight. We are free." "Yeah." Cole's voice broke. "We're free." She threw her arms around his neck and sobbed great gasping sobs of relief and joy and disbelief. Cole held her, his own eyes burning his throat too tight to speak. They'd made it. Against all odds, they'd made it. Dutch rode over, grinning like a fool. "Told you I'd help if I could." Cole looked up at him. "You saved our lives." "Nah, you saved your own lives. I just pointed the right people in the right direction." He glanced at Ayanna. You picked a good man, young lady. Stubborn as hell, but good. Ayanna wiped her eyes. I know. Best man I ever meet. Cole helped her up, supporting her weight. Garrett had already started back down the mountain with his prisoners. Dutch lingered. You two coming back to Pineford, or you got other plans? Cole looked at Ayanna. She looked back at him, and slowly she smiled. We go home, she said. To cabin. To our home. Cole smiled back. Yeah, let's go home. They rode down the mountain as the sun started to rise, turning the snow gold and pink. Ayanna sat in front of Cole on Bell, his arms around her, her head resting against his chest. The nightmare was over, and their life together, their real life, was just beginning. The cabin looked smaller than Cole remembered. They arrived just after noon, the sun hanging cold and bright overhead. Dutch had ridden with them as far as the fork in the trail, then tipped his hat and headed toward town with a promise to spread the word that Cole and Ayanna were back home and under Sheriff Garrett's protection. The old trader's parting words still echoed in Cole's head. People will talk Madrin. They always do. But talk's just noise. What matters is what you do with it. Now Cole stood in front of his cabin with Ayanna in his arms, staring at the door he'd walked through 1,000 times before. Except nothing felt the same anymore. The man who'd left here 3 days ago had been prepared to lose everything. The man coming back had everything to lose. You are quiet, Ayanna said softly. You worry. Just thinking. About what? Cole looked down at her. About how close we came to not making it back here. But we did make it. We are here. We are safe. She touched his cheek. That is what matters. He carried her inside and set her gently on the bed. The cabin was cold, the fire had long since died, but it was theirs. Cole moved automatically, building up the fire, checking the supplies they'd left behind, making sure everything was secure. Ayanna watched him from the bed, a small smile on her face. You are like worried mother bird. Checking nest, making sure everything perfect. Cole paused, a log in his hands. Am I being ridiculous? Little bit. But I like it. Make me feel. She searched for the word. Cared for. Protected. Like I matter to someone. You do matter. Cole set the log down and crossed to her. He knelt by the bed and took her hands. You matter more than anything in this world. And I need you to know something. What? When we were up in those mountains, when I thought we might not make it, the only thing I regretted was not telling you sooner how much you mean to me. How much I love you. His voice roughened. I wasted years of my life not caring about anything, not letting myself care. And then you came along and changed everything. You made me want to live again. Want to build something. Want to be better. Ayanna's eyes filled with tears. You are already better. You are best man I know. I'm trying to be the man you deserve. You already are. She leaned forward and kissed him softly. When she pulled back, she was smiling through her tears. Now stop being so serious and make me something to eat. I am starving. Cole laughed, really laughed for the first time in days. Yes, ma'am. He made them a simple meal from what was left in the cabin, beans and cornbread, and the last of the bacon. They ate together by the fire, not talking much, just enjoying the quiet safety of being home. When they finished, Ayanna yawned. I am so tired. Running for your life is exhausting. Sleep. I'll keep watch. Cole, we are safe now. You hear, Sheriff? Teague is arrested. Briggs is arrested. No one coming for us. I know. But humor me. Just for tonight. Ayanna studied his face, seeing the tension still there. The hypervigilance that came from years of looking over his shoulder. She reached out and pulled him down beside her. Then you sleep too. Next to me. If someone come, we both wake up. Deal. Cole wanted to argue, wanted to stay alert, but exhaustion was catching up to him fast. He'd been running on adrenaline and fear for 3 days straight. Now that the danger had passed, his body was demanding payment. All right, but just for a few hours." "Whatever you say." Ayanna snuggled against him, her head on his chest. Within minutes, her breathing had evened out into sleep. Cole lay there staring at the ceiling, listening to the fire crackle. His arm was wrapped around Ayanna, holding her close. He could feel her heartbeat against his side, steady, strong, alive. They'd made it. Against all odds, they'd made it. He closed his eyes and let sleep take him. Cole woke to voices outside. He was on his feet instantly, rifle in hand, heart pounding. The sun was lower now. He'd slept longer than he'd intended. Ayanna stirred on the bed, rubbing her eyes. "What is it?" "Someone's here." Cole moved to the window and peered out carefully. 2 horses tied to his hitching post. 2 men standing by the porch talking quietly. One of them was Sheriff Garrett. The other was a man Cole didn't recognize, older, gray-haired, wearing a suit that looked out of place this far from civilization. Cole relaxed slightly, but kept the rifle. He opened the door. "Sheriff, didn't expect to see you again so soon." Garrett turned, and Cole saw something in his face he couldn't quite read. Concern, maybe, or sympathy. "Madrin, sorry to bother you. I know you're probably exhausted, but this is important." He gestured to the man beside him. "This is Dr. Benjamin Wright from Prescott, best doctor in 3 territories. I asked him to come take a look at your girl." Cole blinked. "Why?" "Because I figured she deserved a real medical opinion. Not some half-assed guess from a frontier medicine man. No offense to frontier medicine men." Garrett's voice softened. "Let us help Madrin. After everything you 2 been through, let us do this one thing." Cole looked at the doctor. Wright had kind eyes and steady hands. The kind of man you could trust with something precious. "All right, come in." He stepped aside, and the 2 men entered. Ayanna had pulled herself up against the headboard, her face wary. "Ayanna, this is Dr. Wright. He's here to examine your legs, if that's okay with you." Ayanna looked at Cole, then at the doctor. "You can help." "I don't know yet," Wright said honestly. "But I'd like to try. May I?" She nodded slowly. Wright set his medical bag on the table and approached the bed. He moved carefully, explaining everything before he did it. First, he asked questions. When did the injury happen? What were the circumstances? What symptoms had she experienced since? Then, he began his examination. Cole watched tensely as the doctor checked Ayanna's legs, testing reflexes, feeling along the spine, pressing gently on different areas, and asking if she felt anything. The examination seemed to take forever. Finally, Wright sat back. "Well, it's not as bad as it could be," Wright said carefully. "The fall damaged her spinal cord, but not completely. There's still nerve function, I can see muscle response, and she says she's been feeling tingling sensations. That's actually very encouraging." "Encouraging how?" Cole demanded. "It means the damage isn't permanent, at least not necessarily." Wright turned to Ayanna. "With the right treatment exercises, therapy time, you might regain function. Maybe not full function, but something. Enough to walk with assistance, perhaps." Ayanna's hand flew to her mouth. "You mean I could walk again?" "I can't make promises. Every spinal injury is different. But yes, there's a chance. A real chance." Wright pulled out a notebook and started sketching. "I'm going to teach Mr. Madrin some exercises to do with you. They'll be painful at first and progress will be slow. But if we can get those muscles working again, if we can retrain the nerves..." He trailed off, but the hope in his voice was clear. Cole felt like the floor had dropped out from under him. For weeks he'd accepted that Ayanna would never walk again, had built his entire understanding of their future around that fact. And now, how long? He asked hoarsely. "How long before we know?" "Months, maybe a year. Healing takes time, especially with this kind of injury." Wright looked between them. "But if you're willing to put in the work, if she's willing to push through the pain, there's hope." Ayanna was crying now, silent tears streaming down her face. Cole sat beside her and pulled her into his arms. "We'll do it," he said to Wright. Whatever it takes. Show me what to do." Wright spent the next hour teaching them. How to massage the legs to keep the muscles from atrophy. How to bend and flex the joints. How to use resistance to build strength. He left them with instructions written out carefully, along with some liniment for the pain and a promise to check back in a month. When he and Garrett finally left Cole, and Ayanna sat together in the gathering dusk, both too overwhelmed to speak. "I might walk again," Ayanna whispered finally. "I might actually walk." "You will walk again." Cole said it with absolute certainty. "I don't care how long it takes. We're going to make this happen." That night, they started the exercises. Cole followed Wright's instructions carefully, moving Ayanna's legs through the prescribed motions. She gritted her teeth against the pain, tears streaming down her face, but she didn't ask him to stop. "Tell me something," she gasped at one point. "Distract me from pain." Cole thought for a moment, still working her knee joint back and forth. "You want to know something embarrassing?" "Yes. First time I saw you when I pulled you from that river, I thought you were the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen. Even half drowned and terrified, you were beautiful." Ayanna's laugh was shaky but genuine. "You lie. I look terrible." "You looked alive. That's what mattered." He moved to her other leg. "And then when you started getting stronger, when you started fighting back against everything that happened to you, that's when I fell in love. Not with how you looked, with who you were." "And who am I?" Cole met her eyes. "You're the strongest person I know. You're kind, even when the world's been cruel to you. You're brave, even when you're terrified. You're everything I never knew I needed." Fresh tears spilled down Ayanna's cheeks, but she was smiling. "You are good with words for man who say he not romantic." "I never said I wasn't romantic. I just said I was bad at showing it." "You show it fine. You show it every day, every way that matter." They finished the exercises, and Cole helped her into bed. He lay beside her and she curled against him. "Cole, yeah. If I never walk again, if exercises not work, you still love me. Are you serious right now? I need to know." Cole turned to face her fully. "Listen to me. I don't love you because of what you can or can't do. I love you because of who you are. Your legs working or not working doesn't change that. Nothing changes that. Understand?" Ayanna nodded, but he could see the fear still there. The doubt. Years of being told she was worthless cursed a burden that didn't just disappear because one man loved her. "I need you to believe me," Cole said softly. "I need you to trust that I'm not going anywhere, no matter what. I am trying, but it is hard. Everyone else leave. Everyone else give up on me. I'm not everyone else." She touched his face. "No, you are not. You are mine." "Damn right I am." They fell asleep tangled together, and for the first time since the river neither of them had nightmares. The days that followed settled into a new routine. Every morning and evening they did the exercises. In between, Cole worked the ranch while Ayanna practiced moving around the cabin building, her arm strength, learning to do more for herself. Dutch stopped by once with supplies, and news from Town Teague, and Briggs were headed for trial, and public opinion had swung hard in favor of that Apache girl and the rancher who protected her. "You're practically heroes," Dutch said with a grin. "Town's talking about putting up a plaque." "Please don't," Cole muttered. But despite the good news, Cole could feel something building, a tension in Ayanna that grew stronger each day. She'd go quiet sometimes, staring at her legs with an expression that broke his heart. She'd wake from sleep crying and refuse to say why, and the exercises, which should have been hopeful, seemed to be wearing her down instead of building her up. 2 weeks after Dr. Wright's visit, it all came to a head. Cole came in from checking the fence line to find Ayanna on the floor, collapsed halfway between the bed and the door. She was sobbing deep, wrenching sobs that shook her entire body. "Ayanna!" He was beside her in seconds. "What happened? Are you hurt?" "I try." Her voice was barely coherent through the tears. I try so hard. I practice every day. I do exercises. I drag myself everywhere. But nothing change. Nothing. My legs still dead. Still useless. Still, hey, hey, look at me. She wouldn't. She kept her face turned away, her whole body shaking. Ayanna, look at me. Finally she did. Her face was blotchy from crying, her eyes red and swollen. She looked defeated in a way he'd never seen before, not even when her own people had thrown her in the river. "I'm so tired," she whispered. "Tired of being broken. Tired of hoping. Tired of trying so hard and getting nowhere. I cannot do this anymore." Cole felt something crack open in his chest. He gathered her into his arms and held her while she cried herself out. When the sobs finally subsided into hiccups, he spoke. "You want to know what I see when I look at you?" She shook her head against his chest. "I see someone who survived being thrown into a freezing river, someone who fought through pneumonia, someone who taught herself to shoot with arms that could barely hold a gun, someone who faced down armed men and didn't blink." His voice was fierce. "I see someone who refuses to give up even when giving up would be easier. Even when the world keeps knocking her down, she keeps getting back up." "But I am not getting back up. That is problem. I am on floor. I cannot get up. My legs not work." "Your legs don't work yet. That's different. Dr. Wright say months, maybe year, maybe never. I cannot live in maybe. I cannot keep hoping and hoping and—" Her voice broke again. Cole pulled back to look at her. "You're scared." "Of course I scared. What if I do all this work, all this pain, all this trying and nothing change? What if I spend rest of my life like this?" "Then you spend rest of your life like this." Cole said it simply. "And I'll spend rest of my life with you. That's the deal. That is not fair to you. Let me worry about what's fair to me." He cupped her face in his hands. "Listen, I know you're tired. I know this is hard. I know hoping hurts sometimes. But you can't give up. Not now. Not when we've come this far." "Why not? What is point?" "The point is that you're alive. The point is that we have a chance, a real chance at a life together. The point is that you matter." His voice cracked. "You matter to me, Ayanna. And I'm not ready to watch you give up on yourself." She stared at him, tears still streaming. "What if I let you down?" "You couldn't let me down if you tried." "What if exercises not work? What if I stay like this forever?" "Then we'll figure it out, together. Same way we figured out everything else." Cole leaned his forehead against hers. "But I need you to keep fighting. I need you to keep trying. Because the alternative, watching you give up, watching that fire in you die out, that would destroy me." Ayanna closed her eyes. When she opened them again, something had shifted. Not fixed exactly, but less hopeless. "Okay," she whispered. "I keep trying. But Cole..." "What?" "If I break down again, if I cry and scream and say I cannot do this, you not let me quit. You make me keep going. Promise." "I promise. Even if I beg. Especially if you beg." She almost smiled. "You are cruel man. Only when it matters." He helped her back to the bed and made her tea. They sat together in silence for a while, both processing everything. Finally, Ayanna spoke. "You think I will walk again?" Cole thought about lying, about giving her false hope, but she deserved the truth. "I don't know. I hope so. But even if you don't, we're going to be okay. You hear me? We're going to build a life together, whatever that looks like." "You mean that?" "Every word." She took his hand and squeezed. "Thank you. For not giving up on me. For not letting me give up on myself." "That's what love is," Cole said quietly. "Holding on when everything else tells you to let go." That night, they did the exercises like always. But something had changed. Ayanna cried less, fought harder. And when Cole finally helped her into bed, she looked at him with fierce determination. "I will walk again. I will. Not for Dr. Wright, not for exercises, but for you, for us, for life we going to build." Cole kissed her forehead. "Then I believe you." She fell asleep with her hand in his, and Cole lay awake for a long time, listening to her breathe, praying to a God he wasn't sure he believed in anymore. Please, he thought, please let her walk again. Not because she needs it, but because she wants it so badly. The answer came 3 days later. Cole was outside splitting wood when he heard Ayanna scream. He dropped the axe and ran, his heart in his throat, certain something terrible had happened. He burst through the door to find her standing by the table, one hand braced on the wood, her legs shaking violently, but holding her weight. Her face was white with shock. "Cole." Her voice was barely a whisper. "Cole, I am standing." He froze, afraid to move, afraid to breathe, afraid that any sudden motion would break whatever magic was happening. "How?" he managed. "I do not know. I try to pull myself up like always. And then my legs, they just hold. They holding me." Tears streamed down her face. "I am standing." Cole walked toward her slowly, carefully. When he reached her, he put his hands on her waist to steady her. "You're standing," he said, his own voice breaking. "You're actually standing." "I am standing." Ayanna laughed and cried at the same time. "I am standing, and I am terrified, and I am so happy, and—" Her legs gave out. Cole caught her before she hit the floor and lowered her gently to the chair. "How long?" he asked. "How long were you up before I got here?" "Maybe 30 seconds, maybe less. Then you come and I get so excited and—" She laughed again, almost hysterical. "Cole, my legs work, they work. Not fully, not yet, but it's a start." He knelt in front of her, gripping her hands. "It's a hell of a start." They tried again. Cole helped her stand, and this time her legs held for almost a minute before the shaking became too much. They tried a third time, then a fourth. Each time she lasted a little longer. By evening, Ayanna could stand for nearly 2 minutes before her legs gave out. By the end of the week, she could stand and take one shuffling step before needing support. By the end of the month, she could walk from the bed to the table, with Cole's help, her legs trembling but functional. Dr. Wright came back to check on her, and nearly dropped his medical bag when she stood to greet him. "Remarkable," he kept saying. "Absolutely remarkable. I've never seen recovery this fast from this kind of injury." "She's stubborn," Cole said, unable to keep the pride out of his voice. "Stubborn is good." Wright examined her, carefully testing range of motion, strength, reflexes. When he finished, he was smiling. "Keep doing what you're doing. Keep pushing, but not too hard. Listen to your body. And Miss Ayanna—" He looked at her seriously. "You're going to walk again. Not just with support. Really walk. I'm certain of it now." After he left, Ayanna turned to Cole with tears in her eyes. "You hear that, I going to walk?" Cole pulled her into his arms. "I heard. I'm so proud of you. I not do this alone. You help me. Every step. That's what partners do." She pulled back to look at him. "Partners." Cole realized what he'd said, and instead of backtracking, he leaned into it. "Yeah, partners. If you want to be. I want to be everything with you. Partners, friends, lovers." She paused. "Wife, maybe." Cole's heart stopped. "Are you proposing to me?" "Maybe, if you say yes." He kissed her deep and long and full of every emotion he'd been carrying since the day he pulled her from that river. "Yes," he said when they finally broke apart. "Yes to everything. Partners, friends, lovers, husband and wife, all of it." Ayanna's smile could have lit up the darkest night. "Then we have deal." They held each other as the sun set, both of them crying happy tears. both of them understanding that they'd been given something rare and precious, a second chance at life, at love, at everything that mattered. The storm had broken. The danger had passed. And now, finally, they could start building the future they'd fought so hard to protect. Spring came early that year. The snow melted fast, revealing new grass and wildflowers that turned the valley into something out of a dream. Cole worked the ranch from dawn to dusk, repairing winter damage, preparing for calving season, building things he'd never bothered with before because he'd never had a reason to stay. Now, he had every reason in the world. Inside the cabin, Ayanna practiced walking. Every day she pushed herself a little further. From the bed to the table. From the table to the door. From the door to the porch steps. Each journey was a battle. Her legs would shake, threaten to give out, send shooting pains up her spine that made her gasp. But she kept going. Cole would watch her sometimes, pretending to work while she dragged herself across the floor. Determination written in every line of her body. On the days when the pain was too much and she'd collapse crying, he'd hold her and remind her how far she'd come. On the days when she made progress, when she took 3 steps instead of 2, when she stood for 5 minutes instead of 4, they'd celebrate like she'd climbed a mountain. Because in a way she had. One morning in late March, Cole was out checking the fence line when he heard her call his name. Not a scream, not panic or pain, but something else. Something that made him drop his tools and run. He found her standing on the porch, both hands gripping the railing, her legs trembling, but holding. She was smiling so wide her face looked like it might split in two. "I walk here," she said, her voice shaking with emotion. "By myself. No help. I walk from bed to door to here." Cole stopped at the bottom of the steps, afraid to come closer, afraid to break the spell. How far? Maybe 20 steps, maybe more. I not count, I just walk. Tears streamed down her face. "Cole, I walk." He climbed the steps slowly and stood in front of her, not touching, just looking. She looked back at him, and the joy in her eyes was the most beautiful thing he'd ever seen. "You walked," he said softly. "I walk." Then her legs gave out, and he caught her pulling her against him as they both laughed and cried at the same time. "You did it," Cole whispered into her hair. "You actually did it. We did it, you and me, together." They stood there for a long time holding each other, both understanding that something fundamental had shifted. Ayanna wasn't healed, not completely. She'd probably never run again, never ride a horse at full gallop like she used to. But she could walk. She could stand on her own 2 feet. She was free. That night they celebrated with a real meal. Venison. Cole had been saving potatoes, fresh bread Ayanna had learned to make, even a bottle of whiskey Dutch had brought by weeks ago. They ate by firelight, talking about everything and nothing, making plans for the future they could finally believe in. "What you want to do first?" Cole asked. "Now that you can walk." Ayanna thought about it, her face serious. "I want to go to river." Cole's hand froze halfway to his glass. "The Verde." "Yes, where you pull me out, where my life end and start again. I want to see it. I want to stand there and know I survive." "Ayanna." "I need to do this, Cole. I need to face it. I cannot spend rest of my life afraid of water that almost kill me." Cole understood. He'd spent years running from his past, trying to forget, trying to pretend it hadn't happened. It never worked. The only way through was through. "All right. Tomorrow if you're up for it." "I am up for it." They went the next morning. Cole saddled Belle and helped Ayanna up, then climbed on behind her. They rode slowly, taking their time. The valley was green and alive, birds singing, the air warm with the promise of summer. When they reached the riverbank, Cole dismounted first and helped Ayanna down. She stood there staring at the water. It was running clear and smooth now, nothing like the churning monster that had tried to take her life. Cole stayed close but let her process in her own time. Finally she spoke. "I remember the cold, the way water filled my lungs. The way I sink and think this is how I die. Alone. Thrown away. Nobody care. But you didn't die. No. Because you come. You jump in. You pull me out. She turned to look at him. You save me, but also you give me reason to live. Before, even when I could walk, even when I was strong, I not have purpose. I just exist. My tribe use me, but they not see me. Not really see me. I see you. I know. That is why I love you. She took a tentative step toward the water's edge. Her legs held. She took another step, then another, until she was standing at the very spot where Cole had dragged her from the river. She knelt slowly, carefully, and put her hand in the water. It was cold, swift, alive. She watched it flow over her fingers, and when she pulled her hand back, she was smiling. I'm not afraid anymore. Cole knelt beside her. Of the water. Of anything. If I survive this, if I survive being thrown away and drowning and losing my legs and getting them back, I can survive anything. She looked at him, her eyes fierce and bright. We can survive anything. Yeah, Cole said, his throat tight. We can. They stayed by the river for a while longer, neither of them speaking, both of them understanding that this was a turning point. A moment of closure and new beginning all at once. When they finally rode back to the cabin, Ayanna sat straighter in the saddle, her head held high. The weeks that followed were the happiest of Cole's life. Ayanna grew stronger every day. She could walk without support for longer stretches, could help with chores around the cabin, could even work in the small garden she'd started planting near the porch. They fell into an easy rhythm, working together during the day, eating together in the evening, falling asleep, tangled together at night. They talked about getting married. Not in a church, neither of them cared much for a formal ceremony, but in their own way. Dutch offered to stand as witness. Dr. Wright, who'd become a friend through his monthly visits, offered to perform the ceremony if they wanted it official. Do you want it official? Cole asked Ayanna one night as they sat on the porch watching the sunset. I want it real. Official is just paper. Real is what we feel, what we promise. She leaned her head on his shoulder. You already my husband in my heart. Paper not change that. No, but it might protect you. If something happens to me, if the ranch needs to go to someone. Nothing happened to you. I not allow it. Cole smiled despite himself. You're not in charge of that. Yes, I am. I tell universe you not take him from me. I just get him. I not done with him yet. Not done with me yet. Not even close. She turned to kiss him. I keep you forever. That is plan. I like that plan. They sat in comfortable silence for a while. Then Ayanna spoke again, her voice quieter. You ever wonder what happened if you not by river that day? If you stay at cabin, not work on fence? Cole had wondered. Many times. Yeah, I wonder. What you think happened to me? I don't know, don't like to think about it. I think I'd die, simple as that. River take me and nobody ever know I existed. Just another Apache girl nobody care about. She squeezed his hand. But you were there. And you care. And now I am here, and I am happy. First time in my whole life, I am truly happy. Cole pulled her closer. Me too. You not happy before? No, I was surviving. That's different. He kissed the top of her head. You taught me the difference. They talked late into the night about their plans. Cole wanted to expand the ranch, maybe buy some more cattle, build a bigger cabin. Ayanna wanted to learn to ride again, wanted to help more with the ranch work, wanted to, maybe someday when she was ready, reach out to her brother, see if there was anything left to salvage there. You think he would want to see you? Cole asked carefully. I not know. Maybe he ashamed of what they do. Maybe he angry I survive. Maybe he just scared. She was quiet for a moment. But I think I need to try. Not for him, for me. So I know I try. Then we'll try. When you're ready. Not yet. Maybe in summer. Maybe never. But maybe. Cole understood. Some wounds needed time. Some might never heal completely. But that was okay. They had time. They had each other. May brought warm weather and longer days. Ayanna could walk almost normally now, though she still tired easily and had to rest often. She insisted on doing more around the ranch, though Cole worried constantly about her pushing too hard. "I am not made of glass," she told him one afternoon after he'd tried to stop her from carrying water from the well. "I am strong. Let me be strong." "I know you're strong. I just don't want you to hurt yourself." "I hurt myself every day with exercises. This is no different. I need to use my legs, or they forget how to work." She set down the water bucket and took his face in her hands. "I know you worry. I love that you worry. But you need to trust me to know my own body, my own limits." Cole sighed. She was right, of course. He'd spent so long taking care of her that he'd forgotten she didn't need taking care of anymore. Not the same way. "All right, but you promise me if it's too much, you'll stop." "I promise." She kept her promise mostly. Though Cole caught her pushing through pain more than once, her jaw set in that stubborn way that meant she'd decided something and nothing would change her mind. One evening in mid-May, they were sitting on the porch when they heard horses. Cole's hand went to his rifle. Automatically, old habits died hard, but relaxed when he recognized Dutch's mules. The old trader wasn't alone this time. A young Apache man rode beside him, maybe 25, with the same strong features and dark eyes as Ayanna. She saw him and went completely still. "Dakota," she whispered. Her brother dismounted slowly, his face uncertain. He started to speak in Apache, but Ayanna cut him off in English. "You come to finish what tribes start. Throw me in river again, or maybe just kill me here, save yourself the trip." Dakota flinched like she'd struck him. "No, I come to—" He struggled with the words. "I come to say I am sorry." Ayanna stood, and Cole stood with her, ready to step between them if necessary. But she waved him back slightly. "Sorry. That is all. You let them throw me away like garbage. You stand there and watch while our father—" Her voice broke. "While our father choose tribe over his own daughter. You stand there and do nothing. And now you come here and say sorry. I know I fail you. I fail as brother. I fail as man." Dakota's voice was rough with emotion. "Every day since I see your face, I see you go into water. I see you drown. It haunt me. I cannot sleep, cannot eat, cannot live with what I do, what I not do." "Good. You should be haunted. I know." He took a step closer. "But then I hear you survive. I hear white man save you. I hear you can walk again. And I think maybe is not too late. Maybe I can try to make right what I make wrong." "You cannot make it right. Nothing make it right." "I know. But maybe I can try anyway." Ayanna stared at him, and Cole could see the war happening inside her. Anger and hurt on one side, love and forgiveness on the other. He stayed quiet, letting her make her own choice. Finally she spoke. "You want to make it right?" "Yes." "Then you tell them. You go back to tribe, and you tell them I am not cursed. I am not bad luck. I am just woman who fall from horse and get hurt. You tell them they throw away someone who loved them, someone who would die for them. You tell them what they do is wrong." Dakota swallowed hard. "If I say that counsel might, what throw you in river too good, then you know how it feel." Ayanna's voice was hard. "I not ask you to be hero, Dakota. I ask you to be honest, to tell truth. Can you do that? Or you still too much coward?" Her brother's face crumpled. Tears ran down his cheeks, and he didn't wipe them away. "I will tell them. I promise. I will tell them everything." "And our father? He is sick, old, dying maybe. He ask about you every day, ask if you alive, ask if you forgive him." Ayanna's eyes filled. Tell Tell him I am alive. I am happy. I have man who love me, who choose me over everything else. Tell him I have life he could never give me. Tell him—" She paused, and when she spoke again, her voice was softer. "Tell him I forgive him. But I not come back. This is my home now. These are my people." She gestured to Cole, to Dutch, to the valley around them. Dakota nodded. He looked at Cole for the first time, really looked at him. "You are man who saved my sister. I'm the man who loves her. Thank you. For giving her what I could not. For being stronger than I was. I'm not stronger. I was just there when she needed someone. That's all." Dakota turned back to Ayanna. May I embrace you before I go?" Ayanna hesitated. Then she nodded once, quick and uncertain. Dakota crossed to her and wrapped his arms around her. She stood stiff at first, but then her arms came up and she hugged him back, both of them crying now. "I am so sorry," Dakota whispered. "I am so sorry." "I know," Ayanna said. "I forgive you, but I not forget. You understand." "I understand." They held each other for another moment, then stepped apart. Dakota wiped his eyes and mounted his horse. "You are happy here?" he asked. "Very happy." "Then I am glad, even though I not deserve to be." He looked at Cole. "You take care of her, with my life." "Good." Dakota gathered his reins. "Goodbye, sister. Maybe one day you let me visit again. Maybe. In time. When it hurt less." He nodded and rode off. Dutch lingered just long enough to give them both a nod of approval, then followed. When they were gone, Ayanna collapsed against Cole, shaking with sobs. He held her while she cried out everything she'd been holding inside, the anger, the grief, the relief, the confusion. When she finally quieted, her voice was hoarse. "I not expect that." "Me neither. You think he mean it about telling tribe?" "Yeah, I think he meant it." "Good." She pulled back to look at Cole. "I need you to know something." "What?" "When I say you are my people, I mean it. You are my family now. You and Dutch and Dr. Wright and anyone else who care about me. Not because of blood, because of choice, because of love." Cole's chest went tight. "You're my family too. The only family that matters." They went inside as the sun set, both of them emotionally exhausted. They lay in bed together, and Ayanna traced patterns on Cole's chest with her finger. "What you thinking about?" she asked. "About how lucky I am. About how close I came to missing all of this. If you not by river that day. If I hadn't pulled you out. If I'd been too late. If you'd drowned before I got there." Cole's voice roughened. "I think about that sometimes. About all the ways I could have lost you before I ever found you. But you did find me. You did save me. That is what matter." "Yeah." "Cole? Tomorrow I want to marry you. Not in church. Not with big ceremony. Just us and Dutch and Dr. Wright if he can come. Just simple promise in front of people who love us. Can we do that?" Cole's heart kicked in his chest. "You sure?" "I am very sure. I want to be your wife. Not in heart, but in name too. I want everyone to know I choose you, and you choose me." "Then yes, tomorrow, however you want it." Ayanna smiled and kissed him. "Good. Then tomorrow I become Mrs. Cole Madrin." "Sounds good to me." They married the next day at sunset, standing on the porch of their cabin, with the valley spread out below them. Dutch stood as witness, grinning like a proud father. Dr. Wright performed the ceremony, his words simple and heartfelt. They didn't have rings or fancy clothes or anything traditional. What they had was love and commitment, and a shared understanding of what they'd survived to get here. When Dr. Wright pronounced them husband and wife, Cole kissed Ayanna like she was oxygen, and he'd been drowning. She kissed him back with everything she had, and when they broke apart, both of them were crying. "We are married," Ayanna said, wonder in her voice. Yeah, we're married. Forever. Forever. Dutch broke out the good whiskey, and they celebrated late into the night. Stories were told, laughter rang through the cabin, and for a few hours the world was nothing but joy and friendship and hope. When Dutch and Dr. Wright finally left, promising to check in. Soon, Cole and Ayanna stood on the porch and watched them ride away. What now? Ayanna asked, leaning against her husband. Now we live. We work the ranch. We build a life. We grow old together. That sound boring? You think so? No. She smiled up at him. That sound perfect. They went inside and closed the door on the world. Outside, the stars blazed overhead, the river ran clear and strong, and the valley held its breath in the quiet darkness. Inside, two people who'd been thrown away, written off, left for dead, held each other and made plans for a future they'd fought so hard to claim. The next morning, Cole woke before dawn like always. But instead of getting straight up, he lay there for a moment watching Ayanna sleep beside him, his wife. The words still felt strange and wonderful. She stirred, opened her eyes, and smiled at him. Morning, husband. Morning, wife. What we do today. Cole thought about it. The ranch work could wait. The fence could wait. Everything could wait. Whatever you want. Ayanna's smile widened. She pushed herself up steady strong, her legs working like they were supposed to, and walked to the window. She looked out at the valley, at the life they'd built, at the future, stretching out ahead of them. I want to walk, she said. Just walk, with you. Nowhere special. Just walk together and remember how lucky we are to be alive. Cole got up and joined her at the window. He put his arm around her waist, and she leaned into him. Then that's what we'll do. They dressed and headed out into the morning, hand in hand. Ayanna's steps were steady now, confident. Cole matched her pace, and they walked together across the valley, talking about small things and big things and nothing at all. At one point, Ayanna stopped and turned to face him. The sun was rising behind her, turning her hair to gold, and Cole thought he'd never seen anything more beautiful in his life. Thank you, she said softly. For what? For jumping in that river. For not giving up on me. For loving me even when I was broken. For teaching me I was never really broken at all. Just hurt. Just waiting for someone who see me for who I really am. Cole cupped her face in his hands. You saved me too, you know. I was drowning long before I pulled you from that water. You gave me a reason to live again. A reason to hope. You showed me that it's never too late for a second chance. So we save each other. Yeah. We saved each other. They walked back to the cabin as the sun climbed higher, warming the earth, burning away the last of the morning mist. When they reached the porch, Ayanna paused and looked back at the river in the distance, the Verde where her old life had ended and her new life had begun. She wasn't afraid of it anymore. Wasn't haunted by what happened there. Because that river hadn't killed her. It had brought her to Cole. It had brought her home. She turned back to her husband and smiled. Ready to go inside. Yeah, let's go home. They walked through the door together, two souls who'd been exiled from the world they knew and found each other in the wilderness. Two people who'd been judged, condemned, and thrown away, and who'd risen from the water stronger than anyone ever expected. The river hadn't destroyed them. It had forged them. It had made them into exactly who they were meant to be. And now, standing in the doorway of their cabin, with the sun warming their faces and the future stretching out before them, Cole and Ayanna understood something fundamental and true. Sometimes you have to drown before you learn how to breathe. Sometimes you have to lose everything before you find what really matters. Sometimes the people who save you are the ones who need saving just as much. Cole closed the door behind them, shutting out the world, shutting in the life they'd built together through courage and stubbornness and love that refused to die. They were home. They were safe. They were together. And that was all they'd ever needed.